Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. And welcome back to FTB Skies. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting pretty close, I think. I'm not quite so certain we're going to get her done today, but I think pretty close to having this pyramid more or less finished. So, in between episodes, I said I was going to do a little bit of work about moving a few things out of the nether into this particular zone or this dimension so that we could kind of work on things. And I'm not 100% certain actually at this point if it was totally necessary, because I kind of sat around and messed around and did a few things, and when I got back and I got everything moved, we'll go up there and take a look at it in a second, but I honestly think we probably could have done it with applied energistics. I said I was a little concerned about trying to figure out how to move the waste. And I haven't tried it. I was going to do it, but then I kind of just said, you know what, let's just get this going and get a few things working. But I kind of almost think it might be possible, and I'm not, not in the mess to try to do it, and we still had to be able to make a few things anyway, which is the problem. I think there's a quest, or not a quest, but there's a thing right here that I found interesting. So if we look at the radioactive waste barrel, if you use this inscriber recipe here with a singularity and a 256 K ME storage component, that gives you an item megacells radioactive cell component, which if you take that, then you can then possibly make this item megacells radioactive chemical cell, which would maybe possibly allow you to be able to transport things via your applied energistics system from one dimension to another. However, that requires the production of at least one polonium pellet, which means still you'd end up having to bring something into the into the overworld. You'd have to start here first. So we went ahead and ripped it all apart. I moved it into the net, or into the overworld, did a little bit of work, but yeah, I think maybe possibly, again, like I said, you'd have to at least make one. At least make one in this pack, which, again, kind of ruins the whole thing. But anyhow, let's go all the way up to what I did. I basically just built another platform way the heck up in the top of the world up here in case we have a problem, and then I turned this whole mess on. I built the reactor just slightly bigger just so that we could chew through a little bit more stuff reasonably quickly. So this one will do 52 millibuckets. Right now it's kind of working around 40. I need to get a little bit more water injection on it. I've been kind of playing around with some stuff because I did a little bit of fun things around. But anyhow, I have gone through and let it run and used up everything I had as far as fissile fuel is concerned to make a bunch of polonium pellets. So pellet. We now have about 2 stacks of plutonium, and I forget, I think it's like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. I forget how many. I kind of just went and ran and came back. I just turned the computer on after I got it done and let it run, and then forgot to shut it off because I didn't really want to do that. But anyhow, I ended up draining everything we had as far as fissile fuel, and I've been busy kind of doing a few other things because the number right there is going to be very, very important for us as far as what it's going to take to complete the last quest, or at least the last part of this next quest. So on the end of that, we'll talk about this in a second. We've got a bunch of things we're going to do today. In the end of last episode, we did a little bitty trick over here to try to make something, and it ended up producing about, I forget, it took about 30 minutes. I think it was about 30 or 40 minutes, and it was done. So that's a pretty reasonable, quick way of making those. I don't know if it's the fastest I've ever made them, but generally the old trick, the way that I used to make singularities or things with the stuff that you just had to make trash out of, is you use something that's renewable like a sink and water and all kinds of stuff like that, and then you try to figure out how to multiply the thing that you get out of it. And the old way to do it was the chisel and bits thingy here, the bit storage. This chisels and bit storage. So like if you ever really need to make this and it's available to you, these are fantastic because what a chisel and bit storage does is it basically takes whatever you put in it. This is for fluids. It essentially takes whatever fluid you put into it and chops it up into little teeny tiny pieces. So if you're playing chisels and bits, I'm not going to try to do it right now because it's kind of one of those deals. But the best way to try to do it is to multiply whatever you're going to try to put into this thing right here, the matter condenser, as much as you possibly can from a single source. So what this does is it makes, I forget, is 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever the heck it is, however many bits. It's a bunch of stacks of bits, like 256 or whatever, out of one particular thing that's free. So in this case, what you would do is you would take a sink and one one of these, pump it into this thing, and then have this pull whatever you can out of this, possibly using either the whatever the fastest item transport you have, and then shove it into that. And that basically makes it so that you can multiply it considerably quickly. So what we did in here instead is we used those, which makes every single one of those connectors good for 10 buckets every tick, which is not awful. I could have made this bigger, I could have made it better, but it worked perfectly fine. What we did do, however, is I'm recycling what we used here to try to keep that reactor happy by using a quantum entangler because I didn't feel like tearing this whole thing down and dragging it up there. So I'm quantum entangler a whole heck of a lot of water up to the top of that thing so that it can kind of work, and we can fiddle with it a little bit and make it do what it needs to do. So if I go over here and I click the button, this turbine, I figured that turbine would be good enough for it. It is in no shape or form capable of keeping up to deliver the water back out of it. So we're losing a fair amount of water or losing a fair amount of steam here. But it could be better. I mean, it could be better, it could be worse. It's one of those deals where if we didn't need the parts, or if I needed the power, I would definitely work on it and make it work a little better. But this little setup right here is good for almost a million RF a tick. And the problem is it's really thirsty. And by thirsty, I mean, if you think about it, 40 millibuckets a tick of fission fuel, this kind of stuff in here, it gets a really expensive really quickly when you start trying to think about the fact that we're playing Skyblock, and I'm not doing anything to try to make things, continuously show up and run in all the time. We're not running a lot of miners. We're only doing the creative miner and thing and stuff like that. So I had to come up with a solution. The issue here is, and we're going to kind of talk about the issue here, is everything over here in our little system was working perfectly fine until I turned that thing up and we started having issues. The issue turned out to be sulfur. Sulfur dust is, well, the only way we were getting it is by sieving dust. So sulfur was our big problem. So what I did do is I built a couple of systems to try to make things work. First off, we'll just talk about this one real fast because I happen to have 20 or 30,000 coal. If you take a pressurized reaction chamber, you mix a little bit of oxygen with a little bit of water and you put it on coal, it will make sulfur dust for you, which works perfectly fine to the point now that the chemical oxidizer is the slowest thing in the system. And theoretically, I probably should be running 2 to try to keep this working. I did go throw a whole bunch of speed and energy upgrades into all of this. I don't even want to know how much this is using as far as power. I mean, I guess we could look. Where's the thing? Where's the button? Yeah, 100,000 RF tick, not terrible. 130, 140 for this whole area on average, pretty much. So yeah, we're chewing through a lot of power. That's the whole thing. It's, once again, no matter how good you are with mechanism, you're still going to be chewing through an awful lot of power. Now I could kind of probably do a little bit better on it, but hey, it is what it is. The second system that I set up, because we had a whole bunch of little things to kind of run out of sulfur, is that we also had this up here where we had these thermal evap systems that can take water and turn it into brine. Well, if you take water and you turn water into brine and you mix brine, well, if you run brine through why are you so slow? Oh, it's because these things suck, and yeah, whatever. I probably need to put better ones of these on it, don't I? Anyhow, if you electrolytically separate brine, you get something like, where is this one? So brine turns that into sodium and chlorine. And I'm doing this because it's more efficient to use the gas solution for this solution for creating the sulfur than it is anything else. So then you take the chlorine, you mix chlorine, I believe, with hydrogen in a chemical infuser. That makes hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride you mix with gunpowder, and that will turn gunpowder into sulfur dust. Now this is running, I can probably make this a little better if I turn this back up. I guess I had this all turned down. Can we see? Yeah, we do have it turned down. Go back to 500. Just see if we can blow them up. It's been running for a while. I had this to where it was catching up a little bit. We're making about 600 millibuckets a tick of the brine, and the brine is then again being processed through through this machine, mixed with some stuff over here to be able to make hydrogen chloride. And if you again inject hydrogen chloride in a gunpowder, you get one piece of sulfur dust. We had about 17 or 18,000 gunpowder that I figured I might as well just go ahead and start getting rid of, because I'm not using it for anything else. Of course, I'm also running the sieving system. We're also doing all of the mob farming that's happening around all over the place. The mob farm downstairs does do a little bit of work. Where is it? I have barely even scratched the surface on that. I think that's 30. Yeah, there was like 1,700 in that, so I've managed to use a fair amount there. Coal, 29,000. I went ahead and that's that's actually gone up since I started this, because I went ahead and set up the ore processing system to get rid of all of the coal ore that I had in here, to the point that I'm probably going to go back over to Glacio and move the miner again, because I keep getting more and more and more just usable stuff like that. So we may just go ahead and run it. But again, the numbers are going to be kind of screwy. Before we get anywhere further onto this, the numbers, it reminds me to take those out of there too. The numbers are going to be kind of screwy in here, because of the fact that number, I believe, needs to be somewhere north of 5 million. At least as far as the numbers in my head work. So I need to make at least 5 million of that in order to be able to do the work. Now, we can run a few things, and I guess I need to go ahead and accept that. Thank you. I'll take your radioactive barrel. We're going to work on this today. We have to be able to work on this today in order to get to the next location. To finish this little quest line, we have to work on a supercritical phase shifter, which is going to use some of the liquid polonium, this stuff, for whatever this is going to be, in order to be able to make what we need to make. So, and the other problem is I kind of screwed up. I set this up to just, take one little thing, and I need to probably actually... do me a favor. While we're sitting here talking, give me a chest. You and you eject on, and you should put that in there. Cool. Nice. Let me have some more pellets. Okay, cool. Yeah, we need a whole lot of stuff. In order to be able to make the next thing, I think I need at least 4 or 5 stacks of that stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it set up and let it do the work. I knew I needed to do one more thing. Go ahead. So we have plenty more pellets to go. This will run, do what it needs to do. We'll be fine there. All right. And again, the sun has gone down once again. Cool. All righty then. So the last little mess that I have to play with, again, let's look at it really quickly, is the creation of 5 antimatter pellets. 5 of them. This is what you would consider, I guess, end game material as far as, this goes, and as far as mechanism goes, and it's going to allow you to build a few things that are kind of interesting as far as, stuff is concerned for your gear, so you can fly with your elytra. I mean, you need one of those just to be able to fly in the mecha suit or whatever it is for mechanism. I was thinking about making it. If we have time, once we're done with all of this, I'll make it, put it on an armor stand, and we can end the game. Anyhow, in order to make one of those, we need 1,000 millibuckets of antimatter, and in order to get that, we need see the number there, 100,000 buckets of polonium per thing, per 100,000, at least as far as as far as my memory numbers go. 100 is a million, whatever. Anyhow, then you add another 10%, or what is it, 20%, 10% on that, something like that, to get to the point that you need to be here. And then, well, yeah, so we have a fair amount of fluids, gases, whatever we need to do in order to be able to do this. Math, again, it's early for me, and I really need to just write this crap down. Doesn't really matter. This is going to be the big problem, and this is going to be something that I should have had running since day one, or at least, day one. Since I saw that this was going on, I've been umming and on about that reactor, trying to figure out what we were going to do with it. So today, what I want to do is we're going to do something, or we're going to set that thing up so that it's going to be usable, and we're going to start cramming stuff into it to try to get the fluids out of it. Now, I went ahead and built a structure, at least the bare minimum of the most expensive parts inside of this, bar the inputs and outputs that you're going to be using for this. So let's see. I can get rid of all of those, I believe. What the heck is this thing called? Let me see. Well, look at the quest. Look at the quest. Let's do it the quick, down and dirty, simple, easy way. If I can click on the correct button. It says in here, if you want to ponder on the SPS port, or click here. So let's look at the ponder for this thing. It's not impossible. They're just going to show us how to build it for the most part. It's a 7x7 circle cube thing, not quite a sphere. It's a royal pain again, and that's why I built it the way that I did it, or at least I built this thing behind us. What's interesting to note is you need to use casings or structural glass or reactor glass. With that being said, that means the biggest expense that you should be seeing as far as things go is going to be just the rings of the machine. Everything else in here can be structural glass or reactor glass. And look at that. It got rained on. And it does actually work. Interesting. Anyhow, I used copper because copper was available. And that means I'm going to have to replace you with something else. Give me another copper block, you sucker. Give me one of those. Thank you very much. I forgot this top floor had access to the world. You go. Thank you. Mechanism blocks. As long as it's not part of the multi-block structure, as long as it's not completely formed, you can copy and paste them with the copy paste gadget, this thing. So that's how I moved it to the overworld. I broke a block in that, a block of that, and then I just copied everything and hauled it back in here, and it worked perfectly fine. It built it. I had to rip it all down, sure, but it built it for me, and I didn't have to worry about it. So the same thing goes for here. All of the little blocks that go around the outside edge of this thing are what we're going to use, meaning all of those. Let's get those things up. Super critical. What is the name of this thing? SPS. Oh, I guess it is SPS. Okay, nice. SPS casing. So we need that and we need that. These things are expensive. We need a stack of them. Roughly a stack. I think it's going to be more like, let me see. Every one of these is one. So it 1, 2, 3, like a stack, maybe a stack and a half, which is why I made as many of the polonium pellets as we had. And unfortunately, that's going to eat every little bit of the plutonium that we have as well in order to be able to make this function. But again, I need at least a stack of these. So, and I'm short that many HDPE pellets still. Oh my lord, we're going to be waiting on that. Anyhow, that won't take too long. That thing's crafting reasonably quickly. Anyhow, so this is the max amount of stuff that you need in order to be able to make these work. And then what you can do is you can use the structural glass. Structural. I'd love to learn how to spell. Someone want to teach me how to spell? Where is it? I saw it. This stuff. You can either use structural glass, which is steel and glass, or you can use reactor glass, which is this stuff, which it's not nearly as much. I don't know which one I like better. I've got an awful lot of lead, and I might just go ahead and make a whole bunch of reactor glass just because I have that already programmed. So what we can do is we can knock that one out. I'll just have that go ahead and craft like another 2 stacks of that maybe for now, since we already have all that stuff ready to go. We'll let it build it. We'll fill in a few things. We have a couple of other stuff we need to build, I guess, while we're waiting. So let's see. Let's go down here. And I just need to keep an eyeball on that. We need to fill this chest. How fast are you not running? Do I have any upgrades in you at all? Shame on me. Anyhow, we can kind of move on and do a little bit of work here. So we've got a few of those ready to go. We also need to make a, what the heck is the name of this thing? It is a, they don't show you in here that, supercharged coil, which is a laser coil, which is one of those. So let me make, I think we're going to try to do 4 of them, because the more you have inside the thing, the better off it actually works. So craft 4 of those real quick. And then we go that, and that should be 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So these are the things that are going to inject all of the energy into the system to make the antimatter fun stuff. So I'm going to grab a bit of that as well, just so that we can gotta go thing. Did I make a point? I thought I was working on a point while we were waiting on that to craft. I did. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Let's go upstairs, install. Well, I don't know if I can make anything. Okay, so we need to do a, let me see, in, out, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those things. I think maybe we can make it, so let's give it a whirl. Nope, still short. There. Now it's working. I don't know. I guess I somehow managed to get over to the end of that stuff so that it was making too many channels. Sleep. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and make 6 of those ports. So SPS port, go ahead and make 6 of these. Since that's going to eat up a bunch of stuff, that'll take a couple of seconds. We'll go upstairs and finalize where we want these, and then what I should be able to do is exchange gadgets, all this kind of stuff. We'll be able to exchange gadget. For God's sakes, learn how to speak. All of this stuff in that we need to do. So we'll go ahead and do this since I have the availability to make it work. And we'll just cover the floor here with some glass, and I will place, nope. No, where's my thing? Not you. You go over here. And right there, we'll put one of the ports. The power injection, I think we'll put it on top just for the funsies of it. I don't know if this is going to look cool. I don't know what it's looked like. It'll be the first time I ever made this as far as this particular structure in mechanism. Mechanism has done definitely quite for sure been changed. Huh. Since I've played with it last, or at least played with it in this much depth. So we'll do these. But at least from what I understand with the ponder, we should be able to do some fun stuff. So anywhere in the corners, or I should say anywhere on a surface you want, you place those things. So then we should be able to grab those ports. 4 of these are going to go for the power. 1 of these is going to go for the injection of the polonium over here, and the other one is going to be for the injection of the, I guess we'll move that up and make it even, huh? Go there, there. And then this should just get covered in the front, which means I may need to make a little bit more stuff. But these go, I hope, like so. The more of those we have in here, the faster this process is going to take. I don't know how bad it's going to be as far as power. Again, we're making about 2 million right now. Well, 2.5. When I turn this on, it's 2.5, almost 3 at this point. Well, it is almost 3 actually. So the final thing we need to do, and I made just too many of those, is again, we need about a stack of these things. So let's see if we have enough stuff. I did kind of wait a little bit on it. So according to you, I'm still missing. I don't believe you 1 second. I did the math on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, crap. I just did all that work, didn't I? Okay, well, I got to turn this back on. I must have not accounted for that thing. Where's my fluorine? We'll grab another stack of powder. We need at least 1 more stack. We'll just turn you back on, and I will come back when we can craft all that stuff. All right, enough standing by that damn reactor. Holy cow, is that thing loud. Make me too many of these. I'm almost certain at this point I only needed 60, but we'll make 64 just in case. Everything should be there. Go. Where is it? This one? We just have a whole lot of HDPE sheets it's got to perform and make, and that shouldn't be too much time. It's just kind of one of those things. I am so glad I made enough plutonium. I'm anticipating the rest of this project to legitimately, since this is going to be Friday's episode, I'll probably just park this thing and let it run most of the afternoon today or tomorrow or whenever I feel like it. I'll just turn the game on and let it go up there and process and just kind of babysit it and make sure that we don't have a problem. I am unsure whether or not the reactor will blow up if it runs out of fuel. I doubt it will. I don't understand why a reactor would blow up if it runs out of fuel. But let's try this. Please tell me this works. And I want that part that comes with it. Did you work? You do. Okay, good. So SPS casing. Boink. Hopefully I don't have to recraft any of this stuff or do something or tear this whole thing down. I need that one and that one. That one and that one. That one. Whoop, nope. That. And that. Hey, it worked. Neat. Cool. So I already went ahead and hooked up the laser thingies, whatever. Status. Idle. Phase shifter. Cool. Yeah, I only needed 4. Awesome. So I made too many. That's great. Well, actually, I didn't make too many because if I take those 4, I can make one more of those little connector thingies in here and hang it right in the middle. We didn't waste it. So, I can't move you. I can't move this one. I need to move you. So we need to pull that out of here. I don't want to fill up that PRC anymore. Where's my pressure tube? All right, basic pressurized tube, advanced, we'll just use the basics. Basics, this stuff's probably not going to take very long to do, and I might have to make a little bit more anyway, but let's go see. Actually, we'll just do this. Dag, as ugly and as you possibly can do it, there you go. Give me that back. Thank you. And then what this is going to make is POLO, polonium. Inside this thing is going to phase shift into antimatter. And antimatter, in order to be able to get the thing turned in, needs to be into a crystallizer, which if we do this, that will get us the crystallizer we need in order to be able to make the 5 things. So I guess we'll turn you to where you fit. There you go. And shoot. We'll just do that then. I do love having these gloves. Say what you will about some of the mods. These gloves, these ones right here, these little blue ones are really, really, really handy. It saves me having to not worry about things most of the time. So let me see. I need a little bit of power. So let me see. Energy, whatever the heck those things are called. If I have any sitting here, it should be universal cable. Put all of that copper back, and we'll just steal a little bit of power from right there, just so that this thing can have some energy to do the work. We need 5 of these things. All I should need to do now is turn this on. Ooh. Is it working as fast as it can? Oh, I need to, wrench. No. Dang it. Not wrench. Pull out. Antimatter, 2 millibuckets. How much power is this using? Oh. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I am very, 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 very glad I filled that thing up. Yeah, very, very, very glad I have that many TFEs in there, because that's probably going to be enough to do the work for now. All right, real quick, before we end it completely, all I had to do was adjust a little bit of here. There is no reason to wind this thing up completely, since I'm only making 40 millibuckets over there, which equates to 4 millibuckets in here. All we need to be able to do is make 4 millibuckets happen, which means, according to this, about 2 million RF a tick, which is perfectly fine to run all 4 of those lasers to do the work, to keep up with it. Again, it's going to take for freaking ever, but at least I'm not burning all of my power and still have plenty downstairs to do the rest of the work. So, process rate, however many goes, energy input, 26 million FE a tick. We are getting rid of all of this. This is empty. This is empty. And that's going to hurt. That's going to take a while. I can already tell that's going to take a really, really, really stupid amount of time. Stupid, ridiculous amount of time. I might end up filling these up. I don't know. Nope, they're fine. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to do for now. I'm going to let it run. I'm just going to let it run. And if it makes it by Monday, it makes it by Monday. We're done. There's nothing else I need to do on this base other than make sure this functions. To the point that I'm probably just going to set myself up a right click next to my bed and just, do whatever I need to do. Or maybe we can kind of fiddle around with the environmental thingy. Yeah, I was thinking there was something in there that would make it work, but I don't believe we have it. So I'm just going to have to kind of sit here and babysit this and make sure it does what it's supposed to do. It's going to really take a lot of what's in there. Awful lot of what's in that, an awful lot of what's over here. This is just a thing about time now. It's all about time. Now, I could theoretically make this go faster here if I can get more water in it to make this go faster here, because apparently it is being limited to the amount of input that we're putting in. So I might be able to speed that up slightly, but that's going to require a monster one of these and a whole heck of a lot more of this. So the limiting factor again is going to be the amount of stuff I can cram in down here in this assembly here, which means my limiter right now is that sulfur dust, because that's about all the faster I can inject it without getting another chemical oxidizer onto this chemical infuser. That's our limit at this point. And then there's going to be the limit of, well, how much uranium I currently have, and how much of the coal I currently have, and how little bit of sulfur we have right now, and a bunch of other little things. It's a project that I should have probably been working on, and I suggest if you're playing this pack later on, or whenever, to start working on it as soon as you possibly can, because this is going to take a while to just sit here and work and do what it needs to do. But it's going to craft, in the amount of time it takes to craft, whatever it does. As soon as there's 1,000 of that in there, it'll make one antimatter pellet. So, again, we'll see how it goes. We're having fun. If I need to, I'll just get more busy with some of this other stuff and kind of play around with it. And if I do, I'll show you guys in the next episode. And if not, well, we'll just let it run. So until then, I will see you all. Thank you so much for watching. Next one's probably going to be the last one, and I think we're going to have some fun. So, see ya.